today we are leaving our campsite by the coast. It was €24 for 3 nights, so €8 a night without electricity. It had everything that we needed. We were parked right on the beach, and honestly it was beautiful. We would stay there for ages if we could. But the weather's turning and we're heading to Sicily. So we're driving about 2 hours down the coast today to then head the last 40 minutes or hour or so towards the ferry tomorrow. Aidan's just gone into the shop just now to pick up some lunch stuff. We've got quite a lot of food still, but just a couple of extra bits and pieces. So I'm just here looking after the dog, and then we'll get on the road. Booking the ferry was a little bit interesting. We were looking for like a return if we could, and we found that you could book a return ticket, but it was like a 90-day return, so it wasn't specific dates. They're kind of more like open tickets. It was €104 I think, which was round about £90 for a 90-day return.
Italy and Sicily are definitely proven to be more expensive than we thought, just because a lot of the park-ups that are free aren't necessarily that safe or suitable for the dog as well. But, you know, it is what it is. We think that when we get to Greece it's going to start getting a bit cheaper with more abundant wild places and free places to park. We don't mind paying like 10, 15 euros a night, but when it's 20, 25, 30 euros a night, it's crazy money. We're on our way to the ferry port, and we've heard like mixed things about it. Some say it's chaos, some say it's absolutely fine, you just drive on. And we'll try and film as much as we can, keep you updated on everything that's going on, and we'll let you know if it is chaos or if it is simple. Make sure you book your ferry tickets through the official website. There's lots of third-party companies that will take extra money just as a service charge. Already it's quite confusing. The signs kind of lead you every different way. Since we've already bought our tickets, we went to the ticket office, but they just waved us through. So now we're following Gustav and another camper, and we'll see where we end up. From the ticket office, it seemed that you just followed the town traffic round until it eventually leads you to the boat. I was quite glad to be at the back of the convoy at this point. Following the other two campers was definitely easier. The guy in the orange jacket briefly pointed which way to go and then wandered off. So we're coming through the port, chaotic traffic and things, but it looks like we might be driving straight onto this ferry. Unsure, it looks not too full, but kind of full. It's meant to leave in a couple of minutes, so yeah, we might be waiting a little while, or we might be straight on. Let's find out. The guys that were directing us onto the ferry were doing it in a pretty Italian way, just pointing and letting you go where you wanted. This guy was even chugging on his vape as we went through, despite the sign just behind him saying no smoking. But this is Italy, and the rules don't really apply. This next guy, however, was pretty helpful. We're on, but only just. There we go, 20 minutes later, we're arriving in Sicily. It said no one's allowed to stay on the passenger deck, but probably half the people did stay in their cars and stood outside the car smoking and things. It said no dogs are allowed upstairs, and if they do, they need to have a muzzle, I think, or if they're like a small dog, they can. So we left Oro in the van, and they were like, I saw at least one dog without a muzzle, not even on the lead up there. And yeah, that was probably the most simple yet chaotic ferry that we've ever taken. No dramas whatsoever. It was just like very unorganized, and we just kind of drove straight on, so ideal. We've now got just over an hour drive along the toll road to our park up, which I emailed the guy and he said it hasn't been too affected by Storm Harry, so we should be able to get on, spend the night and plan the next couple of days. Okay, so we're leaving the port now, heading just slightly along the south coast. I wish we had more footage, but there wasn't really anything else to film. We literally drove in, drove onto the ferry, and got off. That's it. No checks, no ID checks, nothing, no one really checking anything. But yeah, now we're gonna hit the toll road. There's only 2 in Sicily. Not sure how much it's going to cost, but it saves us about 3 hours of driving across the mountains to our spot. We thought the Italians were bad at parking, but the Sicilians? Everywhere we looked, people were double parked, hazards on in the middle of the road. It was carnage. This toll journey cost us €2.90, which was definitely worth it considering the detour. So far on the drive we hadn't really seen any of the damage caused by Storm Harry, but once we reached the coast and hit the smaller roads, it really became apparent. This road had been completely wiped out and had only just been cleared this morning, which allowed us to drive through to the campsite. This wasn't even one of the worst affected areas, and we really hope that Sicily gets back on its feet soon. We then checked in at the campsite, which hadn't been too badly affected by the wind and waves. The owner was super friendly and was telling us about some of the destruction that had happened further along the coast. We don't mind paying €15 a night if it goes to helping a small business owner recover after such a natural disaster. So Gustav, Emmy and Amy have all gone into Lidl to pick up some snacks from the bakery and some beer, and then we're potentially heading to a lemon grove where we can stay the night. I think it's 15 euros. There's no reviews on Google. It's not really on Google, but it's on Parthenite. So I was going to text the owner before we got there, but I think we'll just turn up and then see what the sign says when we get there. It looks to be down a private road, but it says you're totally fine to drive down the private road for 100 meters and then you come to the parking. It's really nice weather at the moment, but because it has been bad the last couple of weeks, we're worried that it might be a little bit boggy, but we'll head there and find out. If you have a big camper, Sicily probably isn't the place for you. We're like maxing out on this. Should be. So this place looks absolutely awesome. We've sent Gustav and Emmy in first because we're unsure on how sticky the ground is. If they get stuck, we'll tow them out. If they don't get stuck, we'll head in and park up. But it looks like a fairy tale dream in there. We spent a good 15 minutes deciding how we wanted to park to get the most amount of sun. We went to execute our plan, but as Gustav reversed into his spot, disaster struck. The back wheels fell into a ditch, which gave the front wheels no traction. Our first step was to use our traction boards, but these provided no grip at all. We then tried to push from the back, but this didn't help. The next step was snow chains, which couldn't really be fitted since the van was in a hole. So we set out with our third and final attempt, which was to tow it out using our van. Who needs a four-wheel drive when you've got a Renault Master and a tow line? We then reversed into our spot and placed the traction boards under the front wheels so that if it rained overnight or we sunk, we wouldn't be stuck. We're pretty well experienced when it comes to wet grass. We've been stuck many times, so we've come prepared. The owners here were super friendly and even spoke really good English. They offered us some limoncello and even some homemade, hand-picked olive oil. There are no services here. It is a truly off-grid spot, one that we definitely recommend if you're on Sicily. Tonight, we'll drink some beers, sample the limoncello, and catch you in the next episode.